Welcome to our webinar today. So today we're going to be taking a look at the marketing and automation platform here that we have with Modic. And I'm going to kind of do a walkthrough. Now, last week I kind of did a brief overview of campaigns and talked to you about how all this works. We're going to dissect this thing today. I'm going to walk through and show you Modic. I'm going to show you every feature, well, not every feature, but a lot of the main features you're going to look at, talk about what they do, show you how they work, et cetera, et cetera. A couple important notes. Probably next week, I've already reached out to a rep at Modic. I'm going to probably have them come on and do a live demo to actually physically show us from them, because first of all, I have no data here, right? So it looks completely different when there's data and contacts and everything, and I'd like to see a demo using their system that does. And secondly, there's things that I have questions on that I'm not even sure of here as I've been diving into training with Modic that I would like to ask one of their reps with you. I'd like for them to come through, so all the questions that you have and I have in real time, we can find out from somebody that has even more answers than I do. Second thing, or maybe third or fourth, I don't know. One of those other things that I want to bring up is every single thing that I'm going to show you today, I have self-learned using their help center. So if you guys are going to use a system like this, you have to accept and understand that this is a very, very intensive platform. It does a lot of stuff you may never need it to do. And because of that, this is not a platform that you're just going to plug and play and immediately be able to start running through and doing all kinds of cool things. You can with a little bit of training. It's taken me today, in between many meetings and webinars and podcasts and everything else, to just do less than 2 hours worth of training and pretty much learn everything that I'm going to show you today. So you can absolutely learn it. But I can tell you that the first year with our CRM Infusionsoft, it is commonly known as Confusionsoft because it is extremely overwhelming and it doesn't even do a fraction of what Modic can do. So please accept the fact that the first year you work with this will be a constant learning experience. And after a year, it will still do all kinds of crazy stuff that you never even realized it could do. That being said, let me kind of dive in and walk through these different aspects. Let me show you how I learn along the way and how I've learned what I'm learning, what I do when I'm stuck, etc. And then again, the hope is that next week we can get a Modic rep in here to help us navigate this as well. So I'm on the dashboard of Modic right now. I'm going to start on the left-hand side and basically just work my way down. Let me try to open my Slack and at least come in here. We're having a bunch of conversations with sales teams and meetings and all kinds of things. Okay, so let me get that off our screen. Okay, so I'm on the dashboard. Dashboard's pretty simple. It's just drag and drop. So every feature that you want, everything that you want to actually move around, you can easily drag and drop this and make this look however you'd like for it to look. You can change all this as well. You can export everything you see. You can import things. You can add a widget by coming right here and clicking to add widget, naming it, and choosing the type of widget that you may want. So there's even more widgets than what you're able to find here. So if you want popular landing pages, for example, then you come in here and you type in popular landing pages, and all of a sudden you can adjust the size, and now all of a sudden you have popular landing pages right there. And I don't want that on top. I like this graph to be better here, and I like my top list to be over here. So you could see that it's very simple to add widgets. This is your dashboard. This tells you really everything that's going on within the company, being within your contact list and within your website. So not a lot to show here, pretty self-explanatory with what you could do here. Calendar's a lot of it as well. You can click on the day, you can navigate between different days here. I didn't mess around a lot with the calendar, so there's not a bunch of stuff that I'm really able to kind of show you of what's going on here, but I will show you a little bit later some different integrations and things that come into the calendar that will make that make a little bit more sense. So contacts. I've talked to you before about a quick add or a view, but what's pretty cool about contacts is that when this looks the way it should look, You can put a picture here for every person, their physical picture. You can get their picture, let's say from Facebook, you put it here, and then it looks pretty cool because when you're looking at the contact, oh, that's not the right thing. When you're looking at the contact here that I had actually pulled up, you can even change your view here. So you're not just looking at a name or a list of them. You can actually see everybody's pictures, which is pretty cool. If you want to run an action or select an entire list, you can come right here and basically choose to select all contacts that you have pulled up, for example, or you can just come up and pull up in particular contacts as well. You can also see here that you can edit, you can delete, you can send an email, you can do all those things from every contact record. Now, some other things you'll see is you can see the last time they're active, and you can see the stage that they're into, the opportunity or funnel stage, which we're going to talk a lot about a little bit later, but it's important to note that you can see all of this from this view here too. You can enable live mode, which is something I looked at that was pretty cool, where contacts are automatically injected to the top of the segment as they're created. So you can see the newest contacts first, basically. And you can also come in here, and I'm not sure what this feature was when I actually looked at it, the toggle anonymous. You can export, you can import, you can even look at an import history here as well. So it's easy to import contacts, etc. in here. And I'm going to open this up for questions as we go through today. So pretty basic stuff here with the contact. I have looked everywhere, and to date, I cannot find what this is right here, attribution. Now, I would imagine that this has to do with the possible money you could make and possibly the money that you made the money or intend to make the money. But I can't find anything in their training about this. This is one of the areas in the contact record I'm trying to get in touch with Modic. It's driving me crazy. And in all their searches, I haven't really been able to figure out. I know what attribution is, but I don't know what attribution means in regards to the contact record. So this is something I'm even starting to figure out. The company or companies they're linked to here, position. The rest of it's pretty basic, right? We just understand that all their information is here. This is the core information. Now you can also come in and go to social and add all their social media links here as well. And this is pretty interesting because there's some other things that I noticed in here you could do with this information. So you might want to come in and type in their Twitter, Facebook, Google, all their handles here too. It depends on how elaborate your contact list you want to be. It used to be when I owned, I don't know if we ever did this here at Credit Suite or this was my last business, but when somebody came in, we would go get their social media pages. We would figure out their likes. We would find out all kinds of information. We had a virtual assistant do all that for us. I never personally found that stuff that beneficial, so I never really came in and did much with social media after that. But there is, if you're building a small list and you want to know everything about them, then you can easily come in here and put all of these different types of things in. And again, you can come in and custom choose a avatar here for them, which is typically an image. So you might have a virtual assistant grab their image here, for example, from social media and put here. And then, of course, all the engagement that they've had, you can see here as well. So you can see all the time that they've engaged. You can actually track points here. You can see how hot of a lead this is. So this is really, 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 really cool. I can't tell you how cool this is. So in our world, our team in the past has used Infusionsoft as our CRM. What we trained our team to do was scroll all the way at the bottom of the record of the contact and look at email opens. How many emails have they opened? And it's interesting that they have this front and center like this because they figured out what Infusionsoft has not yet figured out, that this is very, very, very valuable information. Meaning, and I'll give you an example, our sales team can guess with 85% certainty whether somebody will answer the phone with a scheduled appointment by looking only at their recent email history. If they've been opening and clicking emails, then there's a high probability that they will show up for the appointment. If they have not opened and clicked emails, there's a high probability they will not end up showing up for the appointment. So we look at this data quite a bit because what we're looking for is, are they engaging? Are they opening with us? Are they clicking on emails? If it's yes, that's a really hot lead for us. So much to the point that we have a hot lead list that is just made up of people that click on our emails. If you click on an email, you're getting a call from our setter to set an appointment, because we know that that is a highly engaged person. So I love this aspect of what you can see right here. Basic information is right here on the right hand side. Their image, the points, of course, which we talk about later, becomes very important because they're giving you multiple ways to see how valuable a contact is based on engagement, based on points, two very big ways to be able to come in and understand the value. And there's all different types of things here too that you can see as well. You can add notes, you can look at previous notes. We're very big on notes in Infusionsoft. You can come in here, and again, we don't have any social profiles here, so you can track social information. If we had their social media pages here, okay, we can integrate relationships here, and then we can also come in and look at what's happened with that record. Contact was created, opened, clicked. So instead of just seeing it in this format, we can see a rundown of history of everything that's taken place with a customer. Again, I can't explain the value of this, because if you really work a lot of leads as we do, this is so information. I've never used a point system, and I think this is radically cool. And seeing the engagement is cool. And then being able to come in here and actually see all the events that have taken place and the dates is very important, because the bottom line is, if somebody likes you, they come in, they want business credit, they opt in, then, you know, they're either, your emails are going to spam or they're never opening them, and you can clearly tell they're not engaged, or they are. If they're getting your emails, if they're opening their emails and they're downloading forms and their points are increasing, then this is a hot lead. And that's something that makes it very easy in the contact records to see how hot a lead is, with very front and center information from your sales team. So again, can't tell you how valuable this is. You can also, of course, edit the record. You can close the record. You can send an email, and then you can come in and choose preferences, merge, campaigns. So preferences is pretty cool, and I'm going to show you how this works a little bit later. So, well, I'll show you now, and I'll explain it later. So the way the preferences works is there's something here down here that we're going to talk about later, which is called, let me see here, which is called focus items. And I think it's focus items that we're going to basically be able to build out based on their preferences. So every person, let's say, for example, you can add all different kinds of channels here. We have email. Now, let's say that we activate, and we can do this right up here, choosing preferences. If we come up to settings right up here and we come into configuration, we can add SMS text message as a preference here. Haven't yet figured out how to do it, know where it is, but I haven't had a chance today in my training to dive in there. Then I can choose SMS text messages. So what happens with a contact is I'm able to choose here the preferences that they have, and I can choose that this person prefers to be contacted by email. If I had SMS activated, I would have SMS as an option. So I could say, look, this person would rather be contacted by SMS or social media or Twitter or email versus one another. And what you're going to see here later is we're able to then actually put that in our campaigns. So if I say this person is email and the next person is SMS text message, then when they get to the point in the sales funnel where that email is delivered, well, then we could actually set that up for that email to be delivered as a text message instead. So that's what preferences is. Preferences tells you the preference of communication for the customer that they choose. And then based on the preference in their actual campaigns, which I'll show you in a little bit, you can actually send content to them automatically based on their preference. So if their preference is email versus SMS, then they get email first. If it's SMS, they get SMS first. If nothing is chosen, then they default to email. That's what preferences is, which is pretty cool. Again, something I just learned today going through their information. So contact is very similar. There's not a much different here than contacting companies. I mean, company, you can see here, address, phone number, etc. Companies can be assigned scores as well, and much of the exact same thing. You could merge it to different records. You could many of the same things that you do with contacts. Not a lot to see here, right? Not as many things as what contacts, because you're usually dealing with a contact, not a company. So segments are very important. And what segments ultimately are is segments are going to determine basically what you're going to trigger. It's kind of like if somebody's in the attempting contact campaign, then that's going to trigger different campaigns. If they're in a business credit lead, that's going to trigger campaigns. So a simple example here with segments is business credit lead would be the segment that somebody would come into when they would fill out an actual business credit form. So they would fill out a form. Let's show you a website here. So here's a landing page. They come to this landing page and they fill this landing page out, and they're obviously interested in business credit. Then in that case, we're going to put them into a segment for business credit lead. And then from that, we can then come in and then trigger our campaign for our sales funnel. So that's ultimately what a contact segment is. So let's open attempting contact. Actually, let me not open content to contact. Let's start from the beginning. Let's add a new segment. So we can come in here through filters to see what segment we want, right? So there's all different kinds of segmentation that we can actually use, which is really pretty cool. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say that I want to make this segment only Florida. I want to make people that are just in Florida to get certain marketing messages that other people don't have. Let's say I want to create a campaign only for Florida that says, hey, look, we have so many business loans that are available for people in Florida. If you're in Florida, give us a call today. Well, if you're saying that to somebody, they're like, dude, I'm in Florida. That speaks right to me. So we're going to create a campaign here. We're going to create a campaign segment. We're going to create a campaign that goes just to people in Florida. And to do that, we're going to first start here with the segment of Florida. We're going to come to filters in alphabetical order. We're going to see if state's available, state is available. We're then going to say equals or not equals. In this case, we're going to say we want it to equal Florida. And now what we've basically said is, hey, look, if this person has the state of Florida, then they go into the Florida segment. And then once you have the Florida segment created, then from the Florida segment, you can then turn around and you can deliver content campaigns just to that segment. So that's what that is. But let's look at how elaborate this is. So let's just look at some options here. So we could do it based on address. We could put them into a segment based on a bounced email or a bounced SMS message. Okay, we can do it based on the city that they're in. All different kinds, the date last active. For example, we can come in and do the device. We could do the email read. I love this. As a matter of fact, I think we might build this out. This is why I'm learning more about it. So if they came in and they read an email, we do want that they read this email right here. Yeah. That's right. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah. This is exactly right. I love this. Okay. So when I figure stuff out, I get excited. So don't mind me. Okay. So if I come in here and I'm building a filter, and what I'm saying here is this. I'm saying that if they read the email for the automated webinar, this is the webinar that sells the finance suite for you. So I'm coming in here and I'm saying, hey, if they choose this, I don't want you anymore, by the way. I'm going to go take you off. So I'm saying if they come in and they watch and they open the email and read the email about this webinar, then I want them to go into a different segment. Okay, so this is what segmentation is. There's a million things we can do here, right? We looked at city, we looked at state, we looked at email read, email sent, enrollment date, things they've done on social media can put them into certain segments. Their first name, Google, Instagram, based on their last name. Everybody that has the last name Smith, maybe you want to put into a certain segment. Okay, page source, hit. I love this. I love this right here. Let me show you what I like. Page sessions or page title. So for example, let's say somebody has a page session. They visited your website a certain amount of actual times, okay? Greater than, let's say they visited your website and had more than 3 sessions or 3 different sessions on your actual website. You could then put them into certain segments. Now, again, remember, the segmentation is the base that I'm going to show you that we're going to trigger campaigns. And I'll put all this together for you. Right now, all we're doing is building different segments we want. Based on these actions that they take, we're going to create different segments for them based on the industry they're in. Oh, gosh, there's another great one. I love that one. Industry, okay? So let's say they're in banking. So we're going to say, look, if they're in the banking industry, I want them to go into the banking segment, and then the banking segment, we're going to create their own campaign that says, if you're in the banking industry, you're going to want to know that we can help your customers get all different kind of loans that you don't offer at the bank, and we can help them build business credit to become more lendable for you. So again, we're building logic here, stuff, actions that take place based on other things, based on all of these different segments. So segments is a really important foundation of Modic, because segments determine where people go. And when you know where people go, the next step is for us to figure out what messages we want these people to physically see. So again, number of employees, I love it. You can actually set up different marketing messages based on the size of the business, for example. Okay, the state that they're in, the phone number that, well, you can come in here and even do phone and then go starts with, right? Starts with. So maybe I only want people in my old hometown, right there, my old 317 area code that I grew up in. So maybe I only want people from Indiana to say, hey, what's up, fellow Hoosier? I'm from Indiana too. And I want them to go into a segment that just screams out the people that have the same area code as I did, and I'm in my hometown. So you can see here, guys, there's not a million, but there are more segments here than, like me, you'll ever know what to do with. There's revenue, there's zip code, there's website, there's visited URL, date, count, how many times they visited a URL. That's awesome too. I love that one. Greater than 5 times. So if they came to my website more than 5 times, then what I would want them to do is I would want them to then go into a certain segment. Now, you also see, as I've been building these are all and or. So this is different logic. Let's say I want somebody that opened this email and also was on my website more than 3 times and was also in the banking industry from this area code, which obviously would be nobody, right? Nobody's going to meet all these requirements. But let's say I remove all these and I just say, hey, look, I just want people that visited and watched this webinar and that came from the banking industry to go into a certain segment. So there's so many things you can do with segments. You can choose between these different filters, and then you can also choose and or. So I want people that either came here and did this, or actually, let me choose this. Actually, I got an idea here. Let me choose bounce email. Email read. Okay, email read, including, and let me see here, video. Let me see if I have video now. I don't have a video. I'm not sure the name. 3. Okay, business credit. Okay, business credit. Okay, so all different kinds. So what I'm saying is, maybe if somebody comes in and opens this email or this email, one of these 2 emails, then I want them to go into a certain segment. So again, a lot you can do with segmentation. It's the foundation here at Modic. It really comes in and helps us determine what actions take place based on these segments that they're in. You can see with filters, there's a bunch, I mean, more options than you'll ever know what to do with. And you, like I, will get more ideas from this. Like, just looking through this, I'm like, whoa, crap, we can segment, and if they open this email or the video emails that sell business credit, then we can put them into a segment. So I'm already thinking of ideas the same as you'll think of ideas based on this as well. So let's say they come in, and actually, let me choose another one of these too that I'm just thinking about building the logic for you guys here. So let's say we email read. Okay, and let's say they didn't, okay, excluding certain emails. Okay, so I can say if they read any email, excluding this one, certain actions could take place. So we could just go on and on and on. But that's what segments are. Segments ultimately let you segment your audience based on, I mean, what is that, like 50, 100 different filters and or multiple open emails, visit your website, stay on your website for a certain period of time, all different kind of crazy stuff. So somebody that's been on your website for 10 minutes is probably a pretty valuable lead. So you could set up there, hey, they visit the website for 10 minutes, put them into a different segment, for example. Now, when they're in, I will go in and tie that into campaigns here, which we'll jump into next. But I want to start with this because it's pretty important to show the rest of it next. So that's what segments are. And we'll revisit segments. As we get to campaigns, you're going to see how the 2 tie together. So under components, we have many different things, including assets here. Okay, so assets are all different kind of things. And let me show you how you may use assets. So we're going to come in here. We're going to choose a new asset. What we're going to do is I am going to come in and I am going to open up and get a free guide here. Let me get this. Give me a second. Let me come in. I'm going to grab a free guide is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to documents and your information here. And I'm going to come in and go to free reports and guides where all your guides are. Let me grab this sucker. This is going to be a landing page in your sequence. The first one should be yours, which is customizable. The second one should be ours. Let me make sure. So the second one is ours, which has our logo, which is what we want. Okay, so we're going to come in here and I'm just going to drag and drop that sucker right there. Okay, 12, cool. I already named it. I don't want PDF. It sounds, I don't need to put an alias there. So let me go ahead and save and close. Okay. So what I have now is I have here a free guide. You can see here here's this asset right here. So the reason I put this in here is because, for example, to show you how assets work, if somebody fills out a form and the form they fill out is for 12 credit cards and form for landing page, then what we're going to want is we're going to want them to actually be able to access that asset, right? We're going to be able to attach that asset to an email that they can then basically get delivered here. So what we're going to do on this 12 form credit cards and lines, you can see here, is we're going to come in and we're going to go ahead and send email to them. And then we're going to choose the actual email to send. Let's go ahead and put right here, Credit Suite article emails. Let's just choose this one. Okay, so what we're going to ultimately do here is we're going to come to assets. We've uploaded the free guide, which is still here. It is here. So we've uploaded the free guide. The free guide is now here. We're then going to include this asset in the email as we build an email. And then when this form gets filled out for 12 credit lines, then what we're going to do is we're automatically going to deliver the email to them, the email that has a link to that actual asset, to the actual guide. So basically what we just set up is when somebody comes in here and they fill out the form will then trigger the action of sending the email, and the email that we set up, and we're going to name the email and we'll choose the email right here, whatever the email is for to deliver the guide. And then what's going to happen is that email that we create right here in channels, the email will then get sent whenever somebody fills out the actual form. So that's basically how an asset works. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can use assets, but assets ultimately and what else is cool about assets is we have a server with Amazon, and that's what I like about this, guys, is you don't have to pay for storage. We store all of our stuff on Amazon and we pay for it, but you can even come in here for assets and you can even choose that if you want them to come in, you can also choose for them to, let me see, this is, I'm in a web form. You can also, I'm a web form, said assets, that's what's wrong. Okay, so if I also come to asset, I can also choose where it's hosted as well. So I can tell them whether I want it to be hosted here locally or whether or not I want it to be remote. And if it's remote, I could put my Amazon server ID. So here's my Amazon server. If I come in here, well, that's perfect right here, Thoughts for Jen. If I grabbed this video and then I put this video here in the remote URL, then what I'm saying is the asset's stored somewhere else, but I still want to insert it into an email. But in this case, I'm saying I'm storing the asset local. Here is the asset. So flyers, guides, free reports, a lot of different assets you can use. In this example, I'm showing you a realistic thing you're going to do. Realistically, you're going to come in and put in a free guide. The free guide is going to be an asset that's going to go in an email that will be delivered when somebody fills out a form. That's a realistic idea of how you're going to use an asset. Maybe you want to insert a flyer in an email. Maybe you want to insert your logo into an email or fancy other graphics into an email. Maybe you want to put a free report or guide into an email to send to somebody as part of a normal campaign or when they fill out a form. So all those things. Here, that's my first bit of data right there. It's my first little graph. So that's what assets are. A lot of different things you could do with assets, but that's one of the most common reasons that you're going to use it. Now, web forms are what go on your website. And if you go here and let's open up, well, let's just go ahead and create a new web form and we'll see what that looks like. So we have two things, the campaign form, which can only be used in campaigns, okay, or a new standalone form, which could even go on websites. I'm going to do standalone form. So when we look at web form, and we're going to say test web form, then we can come in here, name it. We could basically redirect URL message. We could remain at the form. We could display a message when they, so what happens when they submit the form? Do we want to redirect them to an exit page? Okay. So if you fill out a form on our website, then you go to a different page. You go to a thank you page. So in this case, maybe you want to go to a page where they download the guide, or you could create a page here where they come in and go to a thank you page, or go to a place where they could schedule a free consultation. That's actually pretty smart. So we have them fill out and get a free guide. Then we send them to a page, and the page has an exit, or gives them the free guide, and then gives them an option of scheduling a consultation, for example. Okay, maybe you want them to stay here or display a message instead, so you can choose those. Fields is the fields that goes in the form. It's that simple. So do you want, what fields you want them to fill out? In this case, we want them to fill out an email, right? We could change the label of what they see, what the field actually says. Maybe we don't want to show the label. Here's the actual contact field. It links to the contact's email record right here. We could come in and have them do a validation message, yes or no, if they have to validate the information, or we're actually coming in and we're validating the information. So we've seen these before where they make you validate the information to make sure you're not a robot, for example. Attributes, okay, field HTML, label, all different kind of things you could do here. Behavior, okay, show after X submission. So after they submit the form once, what do you want to have happen, for example? Most of this stuff, behavior, attributions, validation, you're not going to use this stuff. You're not. This is advanced. You will use it maybe in the future. Probably not attributes, probably not validation, probably behavior you may use, but you will use contact field, the fields that you actually want on the form. So in this case, I'm going to want an email form there is what I'm going to want. I'm going to want, it to say email, and then I'm going to want it to link to contact. This is mostly how you'll set up forms. You'll never touch these three. You come in, email field, contact field. Yep, I wanted to see that. Boom, added. Yep, email, boom, boom, boom. Okay, I'm also going to come in here. I'm going to add a field for first name too. And let me figure out where the name is in here. Okay, so actually I saw this before. Let me see if I can type in name and see if it pulls up name. Okay, so let me see what it would be for an actual URL. Text. Oh, text is what we want. Okay, so we want text. We want first name. That would make sense. Contact field. Let's choose here. Let me just type in first name. Okay, and then we see add. So guys, you see me stumbling here, right? I mean, and I'm figuring out, as a lot of you will figure out. I came down here and I'm like, there is no first name field. Well, what would make sense? Well, text would make sense. So if I add text, then it's easy for me to just come in and then figure it out. Well, there's a contact field. Then I'm just going to go ahead and type in last, and now I've got field last name, fast for last name. Now I've added it. So now I've got a field for email, first name, last name. Now, what actions do you want to take place? Now, this is one of these places that we're going to trigger, for example, a lot of different things. We can adjust their points. We can modify their segments. So what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want this person to go into a certain segment. And what I love about this is they let you add them into segments and remove them from segments, or just add. It's your choice. So in this case, we're going to come in and we're going to say, let's get leads. We're going to want this person to go into the business credit lead sequence, business credit lead, and I don't want to remove them from anywhere. So somebody fills out this form. Then what they're going to do, test web form, they're going to give us their email, their first name, and their last name, which I would never actually ask for that. What I really would ask for is I would ask for a phone. So now see, I want you to notice this, okay? Because what happened here was I didn't even know text was where I would get information like that. Now I do. So now that I figured that one thing out, it's so simple for me to do now. Now I know how this whole thing works. So now, and this is the way Mautic is going to be, and any of these systems are going to be. Once you realize how something works, it becomes super fast and super easy to do. So I got email, first name, and I've got phone here. I'm cool with that. And then actions, we're going to put them into the segment business credit lead. Now we can adjust their points. We could modify contact segments. We could do tags. We can remove contact from do not call list. We could have them download an asset. That makes sense too. Yeah, let's do that. We want them to download the asset too, as a matter of fact. So we want them to be able to download that asset, which is perfect. Yeah, 12 credit lines asset. So we're going to have them do that too, because we want them to be able to download the asset. We want to put them into the segment. What else are we going to do with this person? Post to another form, push contact integration, send email to contact. Yeah, we're going to go and do that too. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send 12 credit lines email, which I don't have named yet, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to come in and I'm just going to say 12. I don't have that email here, but I'm going to act like that was here. So now think about what we've done. They fill out a form. We're putting them into the segment of business credit lead. We're letting them download immediately that asset that they actually opted in for. We're then sending them an email with that asset in the email as well. Boom. So now that's what happens. When somebody fills out the form, we choose the segment they go into. We've now come in and we've chose them to get access to the asset immediately, as we always do. And then we also want them to get an email with that asset as well. And so now, boom, we're off to the races. I now have my form. I'm going to go ahead and save and close. I did create a new one. I didn't modify our old one, right? Yeah, test web form. Okay, so, and I'm going to go ahead and go to save and close, and I am done. I'm now done. So I now have that form created. So here's the form. Where's our test? What did I do wrong? Well, let's go. Oh, okay, so let's, no, I don't even know what to do to just test that field. But let me go here to the 12 credit lines. Oh, I did change the one. I didn't want to change that. I did. That's okay. Okay, so I'm going to come to edit. And now, actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come and open this right here, and then I've got a choice here. So how do you put these on the actual landing pages? How do you put these into the actual landing pages? Well, if you're using a Mautic landing page, it's pretty simple, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. If I wanted to actually put the web form into a landing page, I would come in here to landing pages. Let me go ahead and choose a landing page. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to come in here and no, I do not want to do that. I want to test. I'm going to go ahead and select this. Yeah, I understand. I'm going to lose current data. I want to go to builder. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I want to go ahead and add text right here to download that form. I'm going to come here and right down here, it says insert text. Right now, let me show you a little hack that I learned by watching their videos, which is pretty cool. Download here. I'm going to come in and put this little squiggly line. Watch this thing right here. You see that little squiggly? It's on a keyboard. It's right beside to the right a P. The little squiggly then gives you the web form. Here's that web form we just set up, right? There it is. So I'm now inputting the web form right in this section here. So they can actually come in and that web form on the landing page will appear right here. So it's really simple to put web forms on their own landing pages. Although I had to watch a video to learn how to do it. It's this little squiggly line, which you'll learn here later. The squiggly line does a lot of cool things. So squiggly line, it gives me my forms and I can input my form into a builder. But what if I want to come in and I want to put the web form somewhere else? Maybe I don't want to put the web form onto theirs. Well, I can always put it on my website. I could come here and I could copy this and just have a URL forward here, as we commonly do, where if you go to creditsuite.com/EIN, then it automatically forwards to the URL. That's super simple. You could do it that way. Or we can also come in here. Let me go to, where am I now? I don't even know where I am. Okay, so let me come to components. Let me come to forms. And then, where we go? Forms. Okay, am I on forms? Okay, yeah, I am on forms. Okay, I'm going to come up here to forms here. And then I'm going to modify this form here. It says right here, real simple to place a form inside of Mautic Landing. Yeah, I don't want to do that. But I'm going to come to automatic. And here's what it is. With this option, Mautic will automatically generate the form where you include this code, and thus it will always be the most updated version. Let me give you an idea of what the difference is. Manual means that once you put the form on the website, whenever you make changes to the form, you'd have to reinsert the code. Automatic means that once you use this code, then what happens is that whenever you make changes to the form in real time, the form updates on your actual website. That's what happens. So I always choose automatic. I never choose manual. And you can choose here's either JavaScript or via iframe. Now, if you don't know what via iframe or JavaScript is, then I have some advice. Don't try to do this on yourself. I don't know. I have no clue how to take this code and put it on our website, because I'm not a website guy, I'm not a coder. I could tell you that you could pull up the code for the actual website and input this into the code where you want it to go, but I'm not good with website code. So what I do is I have my guy Mahafazar, which let me tell you exactly what his email is. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll say it for you on here. Let me pull up my phone real quick and type him an email. Okay, so his email is REZANILPHAMARI. And you can go to our support team. They'll give you his email too. He doesn't work for us. He's an outside contractor. He does all my website stuff too. He's super cheap, super cheap. So anything like this, taking a code and putting it on a website, he would easily do this. I'm going to show you how to do this in WordPress here too. But his name is Mahafuzar, Mahfuzar. His email is REZANILPHAMARI at Gmail. It's like Rezano Famari is his actual email. So I would have a web guy do this. Get a web guy. Go to Upwork. Get a cheap web guy to do this kind of stuff for you if you don't know coding and don't want to mess with it like I don't want to. If you do want to learn coding, then just learn how to, Google, how do I insert form code into website? It'll tell you how to insert this code into an actual website. Now, the video did show me that you can come here and I think type in Mautic WordPress, and it will automatically give you a MAUTIC WordPress, and that will automatically give you a widget you can download right here. And this widget is how you can easily, it's a plugin to WordPress. It's right here. Here's the video that shows you how to do it. And all I did was type in Mautic WordPress. And again, guys, everything I'm showing you, including this, I just literally learned from going through their videos. Their videos are like 45 seconds to 2 minutes, and I learned this. So it's really easy. You type in Mautic WordPress. Here's the actual add-on, the plugin to WordPress. There's even instructions written in video on how to insert it into WordPress. Super simple. If you're not using a WordPress website, my advice is honestly to go ahead and find a web guy to input the code. I can't teach you that because I don't know how to do that, because it's just not something that even I do. I can tell you how to get the code. I just don't know where to put it on a website. But I gave you my contact, my web guy. You could find a web guy in Upwork to do that. I've showed you how to use WordPress here with Mautic as well. And don't forget, you can always go to their chat and type it into, and their chat can help you there as well. So that's what you're going to do and how you use web forms, how those work. So let's look at landing pages. Now, landing pages, I'm not a fan of their website, their landing page builder at all, to be honest with you, because I'm used to lead pages, man. And lead pages has beautiful landing pages in it. They don't really have very beautiful landing pages here. So because of that, I'm not a really big fan of the actual landing pages they have, but they are completely customizable. I mean, you easily can come in here and just drag and drop. You can drag an image, you can drag, text, you can input the text here. So it is easy to work with here. It's just you have to modify the colors. You have to really build this thing from scratch in here. My advice is that it's worth doing. And once you build one, use pretty much the same template that you're going to use for all the rest. But we're doing this for you as well. Here's the template right now as it's designed. So the first template for my website guy, what he's doing is he's designing an HTML. So when we come in here to Mautic, we see that Mautic gives you some options. You can come in and create a new one. You can use their own landing page builder, which is going to take a lot of work to come up with. Nah, actually, you know what? I take that back. You could probably use one of these without a bunch of work. Let me check out what their builder is on this thing. So this looks pretty good here, actually. You could use and change this background image, put a headline logo here. I'm not a big fan. See, I guess my problem with stuff like this is I'm colorblind. And so when I'm building stuff from scratch like this, I have no idea what looks good. I'm like, dude, that looks awesome. And then my wife looks at it and goes, what were you thinking? Because I can't see colors very well. So this type of format doesn't work for me, but it could work. You could put the big image here. Here's the image. So I can choose right here that I want a different image. Let's see if we could do a different image here. Let me just choose an image to see. what we may have here, pictures. Let me see if I have pictures, let's say pictures, let's say credit card, maybe credit card, well, credit was probably the wrong thing to search, credit card. And then we can come in right here. Let's just choose that credit card stack. I like the wallet actually better. And then we put the wallet up there. That's too small, so we don't want that. And I know what she's doing here, so I'm gonna trash her because I don't want that. So I would need a bigger image here is what I would need. So let me go ahead and just I'm just going to do this. So if you guys don't mind, I just want to test this thing out. I want to look. Actually, I'm going to come in here and go to Shutterstock because these are all huge images. So let's try one of these. No, that's too small too. So you got to find an image big enough, which I don't have, and I don't want to waste your time to do. But I could put an image of money here in the background, make something look good. I could change the web form, right? Here's the web form that I want to put in, and I could change that. So you can modify theirs. Now, what I'm doing is I just had my guy design the HTML. And then when I go to new, I'm just going to drag and drop the HTML. This is what we're doing for you. And by the way, guys, keep in mind, we're already setting up the segments for you, right? When you're done for you in Ultimate, we're already putting in the assets for you. We're already building in the web forms for you. I'm showing you this because if you want to do more than just work with what we have, then I want to show you all the other things you could do from scratch and how it all works so you understand how it works. But don't forget, segments we're building for you. Components where the assets are going to be there for you. The forms are going to be there for you. The stuff you're going to need is already going to be built into the system when you actually have access. And if you get access and don't have it within a day, then you got to let us know, and we're still going through the beta and we'll figure out why. But the code mode is where you're inserting the code. So what I'm doing is having our guy take our 3 best performing websites like this, and then we're going to have these in here. I don't know when yet. I don't like this. This isn't the font that I want. It's not the bolding. This has Credit Suite. This has Credit Suite. This doesn't have check marks. This has this. I want it gone. I want a secure button here. So I'm having him make changes tomorrow. And then when I okay it finally, I get it to our dev team, and our dev team gets it in. So sometime by the end of February, probably within the next week to 2 weeks, you're gonna have this kind of landing page built in here for you. And my advice is to then use that landing page to modify as you'd want. Or again, you can come in here, create one from scratch from theirs, and then in doing so, have one really solid template that you can use for any reason. I may just have our team do that too. Actually, matter of fact, I am going to go ahead and add that to my to-do list. So create basic landing page for Ultimate and done for you. Okay, so I'll have that done. So there will be landing pages in here. That's how you work with landing pages. You're basically coming in, you're using the builder. The builder was drag and drop. It's just as simple as drag and drop. Whatever you want to do, it's all drag and drop. The builder's fairly simple to actually use. And then when you have an actual website set up like I do here, then you can see here that here's the actual page URL for the actual page here. So that's how that actually works. So that's how the landing pages work. Now, dynamic content. So dynamic content lets you basically run using campaigns, and I'm going to try to plow through here because I only have 12 minutes. Dynamic content lets you plow through using campaigns and choose custom content that somebody sees based on where they are in a campaign. So let me give you an example. I am a contact in our system, and I can put into a campaign that, let's go ahead and create a new one. By dynamic content, I'll show you this. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, business credit guide. Okay, business credit guide. Watch this. This is cool. Hey, squiggly mark. Love squiggly mark. Squiggly mark. First name, F-I. Gives me first name option. Squiggly mark is your friend with Modic, I found. Hey, Ty, grab. This will really freak some people out. Free guide on building business credit. Okay, and then we're going to say, YouTube, whatever, www. But no, wait. Let's do check out this video. Check out this video on the easiest way to build business credit. and www.youtube.com. Business credit is cool. Okay, that's not actually a real link. Business credit is cool. Okay, so think about what happens here. So what I've ultimately done is I've set up dynamic content, which I'm going to put into a campaign, right? And what happens is when somebody now comes and actually looks at this in the campaign, so if somebody's in here and they visit the website, then what happens is this dynamic content will then present itself. And then when somebody goes to my website, they're actually seeing whatever that message was I just did. I think I just built that. They're actually seeing that actual message. They're going to go to my website and literally see, hey, Ty, check out this video on the easiest way to build business credit. Guys, that's pretty freaky. When somebody goes to your website and they're actually get a message addressed to them by name, would you engage with that? I mean, think about how hyper engaged people would be if they go to your website and specifically see something that is addressed to their first name. That's what dynamic content is. You can come in and basically, in order for it to work, they have to be a contact. They have to already be in here. So you'd have to already, for example, create through a segment or a campaign what you'd want to have happen. And I'll show you in campaigns how to do this. But you would come in, and because they're actually getting dynamic content in a campaign, they go to your website and a message pops up and says, hey, Ty, check out this video on the easiest way to build business credit. If I see a message like that, there's no way in this world I'm not going to click, because I've never been on a website that's ever addressed me by name. That's what dynamic content is. It's super cool. I've never seen anything like it. Infusionsoft definitely doesn't have something to it. Okay, so segments are one of the most important foundation of Modic, and now so are campaigns. So let's look at campaigns and see how these babies work. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to build a test campaign right here, and we're going to come into Launch Campaign Builder. There's two ways to start a campaign. Either one, you trigger it because somebody went into a segment. We already talked about segments. You know how it works. Somebody's into a segment you design. You can trigger it that way. Design it by web form. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose the 12 guides, the 12 credit lines web form is what's going to trigger the campaign. Now, what do you want to have happen? Well, remember, we could already send the email when somebody fills out the form for the 12th credit card, so we don't need that. So we have three options here. Decision is made when a contact decides to take an action or not. So you're basically creating a decision. If the contact makes this decision, do this action, or you're doing an action, or a condition. A condition is based on known profile fields or submitted form data. So the condition is if they gave us their first name, do this. In this case, I want it to be an action. And what kind of actions do we have? Add to company score, add to company action, adjust points, change campaigns, okay, change contact stage, delete contact, modify client segments, modify contacts tags, push contact integration. So I don't even know what webhook is, don't know what integration is, but what I do know is I want to go ahead and send an email to the user. So I'm going to go ahead and send an email, and I'm going to say, 50K in business credit. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, send email, who email is from. I'm going to say I want it to come from Megan. And then I want it to say email to send. I'm going to want it to be $50,000 credit limits. And that's the email I'm actually going to send. I just clicked out of that, but that's exactly how that would work. Okay, so you can come in and do a lot of things. Now, in this case, what I'm going to go ahead and do is this person started this campaign because of this web form. And remember, on the web form, we already chose that we wanted them to go into another segment, right? And we could choose segments by the web form. We could choose what happens here too. So if we want to come in and we want them to go into a contact segment, then again, we can choose, then this looks familiar, we can choose to add them or subtract them from segments here, or we can come in and we can actually say that we want to build an email. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say, I want to go ahead and send an email. And then again, I'm going to say 50K. I'm just going to do this quickly so we can do email to send 50,000. And I'm going to go ahead and say add. Okay, that's what I want to have happen. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to create a decision. And I want to say they either click on the email or they don't. Click emails. Triggers action when an email is clicked. Okay, so let's go ahead. It triggers action when an email is clicked. Let's say email clicked. Let's see what happens here. Email clicked. Let's go ahead and add that. So if the email clicks, then one of two things happens, okay? This condition is based on the profile fields or action. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do an action. If they clicked on that email, right? If they clicked on the email, then what I'm going to go ahead and do, remember, we already set all this up for you. So we're already assigning points based on clicks. We already know that. We already did points. But what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to go ahead and change campaigns. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, since this person clicked on an email, then what I'm going to say is I'm going to then put them into get this, right? So I'm saying, look, man, I don't want them to get 50 points to see this video series. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sell them. And I'm going to do video sales, emails, and I'm going to go ahead email, boom, and I'm going to do I'm going to add that to them. Okay, so now what's happened is they've come in, they've clicked on the email, and then that's going to actually get them right here. They're going to get this email, and once they get this email, then what I want to do is I can go ahead and put in another decision, another condition right here. Or I can come up here and I can choose another action. I can choose multiple actions. So if I want them to get two things to happen because they now came in and went into that campaign, I also want to go ahead and, I don't know, what do I want to do? Oh, I'm going to send an email. I'm going to send an email to sales. And I would already have an email to sales in here created, which I don't have. But then I would say just email. Let me just say email article 10, whatever. So what's happening now is I'm saying, look, this person clicks. I want you to immediately put them in the campaign that triggers the 3 videos that sell the finance suite for me. And I'm going to go ahead and email my sales team as well. That's what's going to happen. So this is basically what a campaign is. It's fairly simple once you figure it out, because there's only 3 things you're going to do in any stage. You're either going to trigger an action, a decision, or condition. If you're not sure about decision or condition, play with it. You'll see, just like I did, exactly how it will actually work. And you could build all these elaborate campaigns. I sent this email, I sent this email, I sent this email, I sent this email, I sent this email. In this case, we said I sent this email, and if they clicked, then I want these actions to take place. So again, we're coming in and saying, I sent this email, and if they're in Florida, then I want this to take place, right? So let's go ahead and say if I did this, and if I have a condition, contacts field value, let me see here, name equals a select field. I want it to be state. Okay, so state, and we're going to say value is Florida. So contact field value is Florida. Then we're going to send that email we talked about, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to come in and we're going to say, I want an action to go, and I want the action to go to trigger the email that says, hey, Florida email, you're cool. And then we're going to come, and I don't have a Florida email here, right? I don't have anything like that, but regardless, I can come in here and just choose 1 to 5% interest rate, just as an example, as a placeholder. So now I'm sending out a Florida email only based on them being in Florida. So this action only runs if you saw here that contact field was a certain thing. Now remember, there's all types of things we can do here as well. We can choose all different kind of contact fields here as well. So this is the campaigns. This is how campaigns actually will work in Mautic. Okay, that's how this works. So you can see, you can trigger all kinds of actions and behavior. Now, again, guys, the good thing is that we've already done this for you. We've already created a sales funnel with marketing. We're going to add more. But I'm just showing you how to build it, how the logic is, how you can modify these campaigns. So I can come in here and you saw that based on the segment they're in, these actions trigger. So remember that example. We wanted to go to people that were in the 317 area code, and we wanted to give them a shout out and go, hey man, I'm from Indiana too. I'm from around Indianapolis, just like you're from around Indianapolis. And we only wanted to trigger that if they're in that Indiana segment. Well, you just saw that. We could send an email to them based on the segment that they're in to just go to those people. So that's how that works. So let's dive in a little bit to channels. So channels, marketing messages. With marketing messages, you can come in and you can basically set up, and let me see here, different messages based on their actual preferences. So remember I talked to you about preferences earlier and showed you how to change preferences. I don't have SMS text messages, but this is where we're saying that we actually only want them to get these messages based on the preference they choose. So in the campaign, we add this and we say, oh, we only want SMS only. And then or let's just say we only want mobile, only if they're in mobile. We say mobile, yes, it's enabled. And then here's the message. And we create the actual, the message that they're actually getting right here. So this is based on the actual preferences that they choose. That's what you're basically going to use marketing messages for. Emails, pretty self-explanatory. You can see here the category they're in. You can see the times they've sent, the IDs. You can see the percentage read, all those type of things. Very simple. Emails are very simple to set up, and they're drag and drop as well. So I can come in here to an email. I can choose whatever template that I want. I'm going to come in and select this template. Okay. No, I'm not. I'm going to use the template I already have. I can go to Builder and I can change this any way that I would want to change it. Your logo would appear here. Your signature still has a console. Maybe you don't want console. Maybe you want this. It's drag and drop. Follow us on Twitter. Boom. You want to put that down there. Dynamic content. Remember, we just talked about dynamic content, how it's programmed just to them. So you could put that dynamic content you created in here. So Email Builder is pretty simple to use. It really is just a matter of drag and drop. And there's all kinds of Google Analytics and stuff you can put in there too, which is pretty cool as well. So focus items. So focus items are pretty interesting. This is something I was just learning. And it doesn't work right now like it's supposed to work. But what you should be able to do is type in your website, which that won't work. So you should be able to type in your website, and it should pull up your website, which mine isn't, and I don't know why. It will display your website here. And then this is kind of like pop-ups. That's what it is. Basically, I'm coming in and I'm saying, what do I want to do? I want to collect data through a form, display a notice, emphasize a link. So I want to emphasize a link upon arrival. I don't want to animate it. I'm going to want them to wait 5 seconds after they get on the website. The style I'm going to use a bar. See the bar up here? This would overlay over my actual website, but my website's not pulling up, which I'll find out with Mautic how that works. I want them to be on the top of the website. I want it to be large. Okay, you can come in here and choose full page, whatever you want. I want the color. I like that color right there. Text color, I like that as well. Okay, I'm going to come in and choose content, headline. Hey, grab this free guide. Okay, font Arial. Now you see this, grab this free guide. And then I come in here and I can put link text, go click here. And then the click here goes to www.creditsuite.com. Okay, so now I'm basically coming in saying, there you go, grab this free guide. So what you're ultimately doing here is you're creating the equivalent of pop-ups, which is pretty cool because usually this is a separate program, a separate software you have to buy to do this. But you can see that with this, you can either come in and get their information, you could display a notice, you could emphasize a link, you could put what it looks like. So the purpose of pulling up your website so you could see what it looks like on your website to get your colors, etc. done. But I can't see, even using their example link, I couldn't get this to pop up. So I'm hoping to get an answer for you on this. But even without your site popping up, you see how it works. You could basically come in and create this content here based on, which is basically the equivalent of a pop-up. And you can program where it goes on the website, all those different types of things you can actually do here. So that's what that is. That's what focus items are. Now, social monitoring is basically where you're coming in and monitoring social media. So for example, you can come in and you could add more channels through here, through your settings, which I'll get to another day. I don't have enough time to get through it. And you can come in and say, you know, if they have a Twitter mention or a Twitter hashtag, and you could program what you want to have happen, what you want to say, etc. And I will get into this a little bit more as I have more time. Points, I'm going to go through. I'm going to try to make it through this pretty quick, and then we can revisit it when they come back. Actions are the actual actions that are setting points. Click click on emails, download assets. Pretty simple to do. If I come to new, I can come what I want. I can change the point value, and I can change what I want to have happen. Send an email, opens an email, submits a form, visits a landing page, visits a specific URL, etc. So let's say you push them to a web page that has a video walkthrough of the finance suite. Well, that might give them 50 points. So when they visit that page, and you put the page details here, how many times they hit the page, return after, all the benefit. I mean, so you could basically program points based on how much time they spend on there, how many time they've been there. This is fantastic. I love this. So if they spent 30 minutes on the web page. This is so ridiculous, man. Infusionsoft doesn't do anything like this. So if they spent 30 minutes on my web page, creditsuite.com, then what I want to have, and of course I have to enter HTTP. It just told me HTTP, but I'm just giving you an example here. Creditsuite.com. If they're on this landing page for 30 minutes, then what I want to do is get the person 50 points, and on landing page for 50 points. So pretty simple. The triggers are what triggers the action. So for example, in this case, when somebody has 100 points, the event that takes place is we send an email. The email that we send basically shows up right here, hot lead, 100 points. And you can see that that's the email subject line that comes up. So that's exactly what a trigger is. A trigger is basically coming in and what points, what color you want it to show as, what event actually triggers it and you want to trigger. So what events can we do? Modify campaigns, modify contact segments, modify tags, send an email to user. So those are all the events that can be triggered based on them reaching certain points levels. In our case, if you look at the triggers we set up for you, every 50 points they get, we send a lead to your sales team, or send a lead to you basically as the user is what happens. So stages, these are opportunity stages. Ultimately, a simple example of this is, let's say you want to go ahead and create a top of funnel action stage. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save and close. So now I have a top of funnel. What happens is I'm saving and closing. Oh, it's on page 2. Okay, so top of funnel campaign stage. So what I want to say is I want to come back here to campaigns, and I'm going to go into, let's say, a new campaign. I'm going to create a new campaign, and I'm going to go ahead and launch the campaign builder. And when somebody comes in, right, what we're going to do is they're already in. I would probably put this into our sales funnel. So when they come in from this web form, then they're starting our funnel. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to come in, and I'm going to want to change their segment here. Okay, change the segment. No. I don't want segment, do I? What was I just doing? I wasn't doing segment. I'm doing stages. So I want to change the stage that they're in, change contact stage. And I want to tell them that this is top of funnel. So that's what I want to put in here. So what I'm basically doing is I'm coming in and telling them, hey, look, I want this person to go into the stage at top of funnel the minute they come into our funnel. If you don't understand what top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel is, it's just basically a sales funnel. Top of funnel is when they very first come in, and bottom of the funnel is when they're getting all of your sales stuff and everything like that. So the way that this works, if you think of it like this, is stages could then tell me how many people are in the top of funnel, bottom funnel, low. And remember earlier, I showed you how to see what stages a contact was in. So here, for example, we can see the stage. So if I here am in the top of funnel stage, then what happens is I am then showing there as top of funnel stage, and I can come in and modify and edit this. And I can choose where stages at. Where are you at? Stages. I want to be in top of funnel. So I can manually change this, or I did it as part of a campaign, right? So I went ahead and chose myself as top of funnel. I'm going to go contacts. So what happens now is you can see top of funnel. So what this means is when you're looking at your contacts, you can clearly see the people that are top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, as an example of how stages work. So this way you can come in and basically put these into your campaigns. You could even come into your sales funnel campaign if you want to. You can put top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. So when you look at a contact, you can tell where they are, what stage they're in. And then, for example, bottom of funnel are people that are ready to buy. So you know the more people that are in the bottom of funnel stage, the more inclined or the more ready that they are to actually buy. So that's what stages are. Stages help help you ultimately come in. And ultimately, I like to use them in campaigns to basically put into a campaign to say what stage they are. So for example, if you're going to trigger the campaign for the 3-video sales series, then you may want to create a whole different stage that says has seen presentation, right? So let's say, let's build this really quick here. I know I'm going to lose some people because I'm over, but I want to give you man, I don't want to build a bunch of stuff here. Yeah, I do want to build something here. Actually, right now, I do want to build this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to build a new campaign. I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So let's say that they came in. Well, I'm not even going to mess with that. Okay, so the bottom line is, because I have to think through it, and I don't want to take much more time than I've already taken. So the bottom line is I can come in here and I can set up a segment that they go into after they watch the 3-video series that says that they went into the segment. The segment can trigger another campaign, and that campaign can automatically put them into a stage saying hot lead, or the stage would be has seen presentation. So we come in and using campaigns, we basically say, hey, look, 3-video series email right here. I want to modify this thing. And what I want to do is I want to say that if they did see this, then what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and then if they did email it, right? Remember, here's a condition. Let's go ahead and do a decision. If they did click on the email, then what I want to have happen is I then want to trigger an action. Clicked on email, clicked email. They clicked on this thing, so I know they're hot. Then what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to go ahead and run an action. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into a stage, and that stage is going to be ready to buy. Okay, I'm going to use top of funnel. So that gives you an idea of how it works. Ready to buy, ready to buy. Okay, so this would show you how it works. So what we basically did is I came into the campaign we've already built for you, and I said, hey man, this person opens this email, boom. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and put them into the stage ready to buy. And so then what would happen is that contact would then show as the stage of ready to buy in your contacts, and you could trigger actions based on that as well. So I'm going to wrap this up and open it up for questions. There's a lot of reports you can run too. Next week, my goal is to have Modic come in and do their own demo. They're going to show you things completely different than I am. The one thing I want you to know is, first of all, we've already built the logic for you. The segments are there. The stages that make sense that we built are there. We built the points out. We built campaigns. Of course, we're going to be adding landing pages in the weeks to come in. Okay, we're also going to be coming in and building the landing pages. We're also going to be coming in and we're going to be adding more campaigns. I've got 2 text campaigns I'm going to be working on probably over the next 30 to 45 days. I'm going to have in here that will trigger as well. Okay, we've already got the points. All this is built. The reason I'm showing you this is because this is how you modify the campaigns we've already built. This is how you build your own campaigns. This is how you basically choose your own segments of audiences based on all kinds of crazy cool stuff. And then you trigger the campaigns. So I've shown you all this to get a familiarity of how Modic works. But how do you learn this? Well, you go to help. There's 2 ways I've figured out how to learn just about everything you possibly need. Here's Modic Help. So for example, if I go to Modic Help and I go dynamic content, then I can pull up anything related to dynamic content that they may have. And some of them aren't that good of descriptions I found. And sometimes you have to go through. Okay, so there's dynamic content for emails. The other thing I found is I went to their YouTube and typed in Modic and found the Modic community channel. And then this actually has worked for me pretty well as well. So I found some stuff that it's not in their back office. It's available here too. Dynamic content. So here's dynamic content video. And this showed me that. See, there it is. Look at that. Cool. So that's how I figured out how to use lead field first name and how dynamic content is. I just went to this video. So again, you have to understand this is a complicated system. There's no system that does all that a system like this does that's not going to be complicated. You have to understand that. Don't get frustrated. Don't get worried. Modic's Help Center is phenomenal. What you can't find there, you could typically find on their YouTube channel. What you can't find there, then go to their website and just come to their chat. When you're actually there, you can come right to chat and just ask them there, and they're phenomenal. Our support team can help you with our logic that we've built. Modic will be the best resource to help you with everything else, because any question you ask us that we don't know, we're going to have to go to Modic to get. So my advice is to use and become familiar with Modic Help. Become familiar with their YouTube channel. Almost every video on anything you need is in one of these two areas, their YouTube channel or their Modic Help. The other thing to keep in mind is to use their chat. On their main website, you can go to their chat. I'm not trying to push you to them, but let's be honest, they're going to have more answers and better answers than we will, especially at this stage of the game. So anything to do with building that you get stuck on, reach out to them. They're here to help you. You're a user. You have access to them, just like you were paying them the $500 retail that they charge, and they will help you the same as well. But again, I'm very big on self-learning, and everything I'm showing you today, I literally learned in less than 2 hours going through their training videos today. I literally came in, I searched training videos for contacts and looked at the videos relative to that. Companies, segments, assets, forms. I searched every one of these and looked at all the videos relative. The videos are 45 seconds to 2 minutes. One of them was 5 minutes that I saw, and they explained everything. And then I come in and I test it. But if you look at it, guys, it's pretty simple. It's pretty drag and drop, but there's a lot of extremely difficult stuff that you may never use, behaviors and stuff like that you may not use for months or even years until you become familiar with it. So next up, I will have Modic come in and talk to you more. And then in doing so, Modic will actually be able to answer a lot of questions that I might not be able to answer, and we might not be able to answer right now because we're learning all this. But again, with a little bit of self-education, you're able to learn a lot of things. You can see how elaborate it is. You now know how every one of these features work, what they do. I've shown them to you. We built stuff out in real time, so you can see how a lot of this stuff triggers. It triggers. Again, it's complicated. That's why we built it all for you. But there's still, you should know how to use this because there's so much more with it you can do for your primary business as well. So let me get to questions. How do you compare this to Infusionsoft, Ultraport? I know you're using Infusionsoft. I don't know. I mean, this is a whole different animal. And let me explain. Wow. I mean, Infusionsoft doesn't have landing page builder, although they're coming out with it. They don't have dynamic content. They don't have focus items. They don't have social media. This does so much more than Infusionsoft does. And I can't think of anything beyond the e-commerce that Infusionsoft does that this one doesn't do. Infusionsoft does have points, and they do have stages, and they don't really have segments though. So there's so much more you can do with this in Infusionsoft, which is why we like it. What I like about this that I don't have with Infusionsoft and I wish I did is dashboard. I like being able to track what's going on my websites and in my emails. Infusionsoft doesn't have anything like this. You really can't track what's going on websites that I've ever seen. Segments. I love the fact that you can segment audiences and trigger them based on segments they're in. I think that's really cool, and I would use this feature a lot if we had that built in Infusionsoft. I like assets too. Infusionsoft sucks with this. They're really not good at PDFs and PD. They're good with images, but with PDFs, things like that, it seems to upload and store data at a level I've never seen Infusionsoft do. I like the landing page, but I like that you can build landing pages in here because you can't do that with Infusionsoft, and you have to pay 40, 50 bucks a month just for that service. Dynamic content is one of the sickest things I've ever seen. I mean, literally being able to create a message on the website for somebody that goes to the website and talk to them by name and direct them to a message is ridiculous. The effectiveness of dynamic content, I think it's one of the sickest features I've ever seen in a platform, and it definitely doesn't exist in Infusionsoft. Campaigns, same as Infusionsoft. I don't know if I like theirs better or worse than Infusionsoft. I don't really know. Channels, I like social monitoring, but I haven't experimented with it enough to know. I know you can do stuff with Twitter here, but I'm interested to know if you can do stuff based on Facebook, etc. The jury's still out on this. I like the concept of this, and I love the fact that you can trigger actions based on social media engagement. That's so ridiculous. And Infusionsoft doesn't have that, but I don't know the limitations here, so I'm not exactly sure on that. Marketing messages, emails, focus items, not as big of a deal, but they are pretty cool with marketing messages, letting you do email, SMS, and some other things like social media that Infusionsoft doesn't have. points Infusionsoft has, stages. So there's at least 5 to 7 features here that I think are really cool that Infusionsoft doesn't have. There are at least 3 that I think are groundbreaking. Dynamic content, I think, is groundbreaking. I mean, I just think it's groundbreaking. To have somebody come in and position messages to them specifically based on them being in your database and coming back to your website is so ridiculous. Because in my world, if we give somebody to opt in, and then they go back to our website, the first thing we would do is say, hey, contact first name, why don't you check out this video demo walkthrough of how to, or this, why don't you click here to find the easiest way to get business credit? And then we would immediately direct them to a video demo walkthrough of the finance suite. So I could see this be huge for us and account for a huge amount of buying that we don't have now. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I'm so used to Infusionsoft. I've used it for so many years. We can't switch to anything else. We're so deep into it. But I would, if I was looking at this compared to Infusionsoft at this point, I would probably go with a platform of like this over Infusionsoft because some of the features I've seen. I can't think of anything outside of e-commerce that this has that Infusionsoft doesn't have. But e-commerce is a pretty big deal. Just to thank you in addition to all else we do, Ty, I appreciate that, man, Alan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. So if you guys have any other questions, let us know. I'm going to bring on a Modic rep hopefully next week. I can't promise you because I haven't got commitment from them. But my goal is for them to come on and walk through and me to say to them, this is my first question, what's attribution? How does this work? What is this little thing called attribution here? So there's some questions I want to ask them. I want to know more about attribution here. I want to learn more about features I don't know. I want to know if you can trigger things based on their social media here. So there's still some things that I don't know that I would like to learn. And there's things that I think I know that I would like to learn more. Like I really want to learn more about dynamic content. So I'm gonna have somebody come back on, hopefully from Modic next week. They'll come on, they'll teach us more about this. And if you're watching this as replay, you could look for that video as well. That will come sometime in the future where they're gonna demo walk through this. If you have questions, reach out to us, support@creditsuite.com. You have questions on Modic, use their help center, click on help, click here, type in whatever you want. You'll find the answers. You don't find the answers, come here into YouTube. And if you don't find the answers there, which some things like what I just said there with the thing I don't know in contact, I can't find anywhere. And that would be a good way to go to the glossary of terms, which is not even there, or to engage with their chat and try to find out and get an answer there. And again, our support team is going to help you, but we're going to get better at guiding you to Modic because this is their system. They just know it at a level that we don't know it as well. So that being said, let me answer any other questions. Have you tried Entreport? I've never seen Entreport. I don't know what Entreport is. I'm familiar with Salesforce. I'm familiar with Infusionsoft. I'm familiar with Modic. I'm familiar with Active Campaign. I've heard of Entreport, but I've never really actually worked with it before, to answer your question. Thank you. Unbelievable. Andrew, I agree. I think it's really, really cool, especially for 99 bucks a month, guys. I mean, like I've showed you guys before in the past, if you go to modic.com, just look Modic, and it'll tell you it starts at 500 bucks. You're getting it for 100 bucks. So it's really pretty cool. I just called to have the funnel built. I'm super excited to get this going. I'm launching my first Facebook ad. That's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. Well, guys, we've got more to do here. My excitement, I don't know. I'm kind of confused right now. There's some things I discovered today that I want to have our development team build out for Logic. And that's what I'm so excited about for you guys, is that I can now look at this stuff and go, wow, I didn't know you could do that. Let's build this. Let's build this logic. Let's do this. Let's create these segments. Let's create these stages. Let's trigger these stages. We're going to build more and more logic and it will automatically be available for you as we clone your system. And then the landing pages will be available in the months to come. I'm hoping for weeks, of course, because he's working on it right now and I showed you his progress. So there's more we're going to build in here for you. But even getting started where we've already built the segments, we've already built the web forms, we've already built the campaigns, we've already built the points out. It just saves you a ton of time to have to come in and build all that stuff out because it's already built for you. But more to come, guys. This is just where we're getting started, and we'll do a lot more in here that will help you guys even more. So The price is crazy. Good for what we get. Yeah, I know. And I think we're going to hold, as long as we have people engaging and getting contacts and stuff, that it makes sense for us to keep it there. So we will. Should we drop our old campaign now? I'm with AWeber. I would. If you're using this, well, it depends on how many contacts you have in there. I don't know, actually. If I were you, what I would do is this, in this order. I would import your contacts to Modic. I would then put them in the segment as you import them for the funnel, which should be here. I would put them, I wouldn't put them in this segment. I would trigger the campaign for the funnel, which I think there should be a segment here for the sales funnel as well. I'll figure that out. But I would put them in here, and then I would automatically trigger the sales funnel campaign. Once you have that done and you know it's done, then what I would do next is I would go ahead and cancel AWeber. That's what I would do. Upload all contacts into here, trigger the sales campaign. Once you know it's working and tracking as you need it to be, I would cancel AWeber. It's a waste of money. That would be my advice. How would I get Modic for $100 a month? What version is it? This is their newest version. I don't know what they call it. You can go to creditsuite.com. There's a couple things. You can go to creditsuite.com/marketing. creditsuite.com/marketing is where you're going to be able to get actual Modic. And then creditsuite.com/campaigns is where you're getting all of our built out logic. Campaigns is where you'll actually get all of our logic, all the campaigns, the stuff I've shown you that's built out, where we've already created all these contact segments. We've already built your points. We've already built your campaigns with the sales funnel, for example. All your sales funnel is already built out for you. That's at creditsuite.com/campaigns. If you just want Modic itself, go to creditsuite.com/marketing. But keep in mind, guys, we didn't get Modic to sell you Modic. That's not the point. The reason we needed it is we needed a platform to house our campaigns. And if you missed that last week, you probably should go to that webinar last week, because in campaigns, we've built out your sales funnel. We've built out webinar and video campaigns that sell the finance suite for you to retain customers once they enroll and attempting. We built out all these campaigns and logic for you. That's part of our campaigns product. If you're ultimate, or if you are done for you, it's already included. We're not charging you for that at all. It's already included. We just need to get you on to creditsuite.com/marketing into Modic, and you'll automatically have it. If you haven't purchased Ultimate and you're only VIP, or you don't have done for you, then you want to check out creditsuite.com/campaign. So again, the purpose of this wasn't to introduce you to that. It was just to actually physically show you. This is a continuance from last week where I showed you campaigns and how the actual the platform works. This was more in depth of how you can actually control it, because we're having a lot of questions as people are enrolling. Lucky that I don't have that many contacts yet, but I intended to change this quickly. Yeah, and that's okay. Once you start running Facebook ads, you will, and you know that as well. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. I don't have any other questions. If you have any questions, reach out to us, support@creditsuite.com. For those of you that are like, oh, I don't even know what's going on, go to last week's webinar. Last week's webinar, we went through and explained what campaigns are. We explained the platform, a quick overview. This one at least was designed to show you even more in depth, mostly for people that are already all our ultimate sales funnel, that are already getting access to this platform, what you can do with it, exactly how to work it. And there'll be more next week on how to work everything as well. Last week's webinar blew my mind. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And unfortunately, it didn't even record, because GoToWebinar's note you don't have to push the button to record feature isn't working. But I did re-record that webinar, and it is available in your back office. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you have any other questions, guys, please reach out to us and let us know. Support@creditsuite.com. Otherwise, enjoy this campaign product and enjoy this this brand new marketing automation platform. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.